So this week I have got an explorer, a filmmaker, and just an all-around good guy when it comes to the cryptic world. I've got Greg Ogles from Relic Films Media. Greg, buddy, it's good to see you.
Hello. Hello. Thank you for having me.
So
Thank you for having me. It's been a while.
it has where are you calling in from today? Are you in the woods? You're out in the cabin? Or are you home?
I'm at home right now. I'm in the middle of editing one of my films, one of my
Yeah.
latest films, and spending a lot of time at home. And of course, I still have a day job, so I got to get to the day job sometime or another.
Them stinking day jobs. I don't know. See, I guess
hmm
I am one of the guys that in the paranormal and this whole world that this is my this is my work. This is my day job. So
hmm
I kind of did, not as a host, but as a production guy. So
hmm
we got
No.
Joseph in the back doing TD work and all that kind of fun stuff. So
hmm
you are would you say that you were a writer before filmmaker, or were you an explorer type person before you became a writer or a filmmaker?
At first, I was just an engineer. And
Oh,
I was an explorer. Yeah, I always like the outdoors. Anything outdoors, I really love. And I was big into the hunting and fishing for quite a while. And eventually, I just got tired of hunting and fishing. Uh, when I was a kid, I had a little bit of an experience with a UFO. Actually, a lot of it. And it was quite terrifying, and I kept it in the back of my mind, for years and years and years. Never really talked about it until lately. But I will say that kind of got me interested into the paranormal world. So one day, I had just decided just to get up off the couch and stop watching the TV, stop watching the Finding Bigfoots, the Monster Quests, and all that, and actually go out and have some of these experiences myself.
wow. Okay. That so so I don't know. I don't know if I'm ever gonna lose my hunting or my fishing side, or I do
hmm
like that still. I have found though that a lot of people that I talk to, once they get into looking for Bigfoot or looking for paranormal out in the woods and stuff like that, they've kind of shied away from the hunting side. I like meat too much. And I
hmm
love deer and rabbit and squirrel, and I just
hmm
like it, and duck and turkey, boar. But I do hear that a lot, that everybody kind of like they just shied away from that side because of going out
hmm
and trying to connect in that animal world. But
hmm
so once you got out, did you have you ever had what was your first not your UFO, but what was your first thing that really got you going, okay, I am going to go look for Bigfoot?
Okay, I was interested in the cryptid world, right? So I joined a Facebook group, and in that group, I met somebody named Paul Halsey. And he is a local researcher here in Alabama, and he really took me up under his wing, showed me the ropes how to investigate things, and took me to some places where he had some experiences. And lo and behold, our first outing. I don't know if you call it beginner's luck or what, but I heard something kind of walking in the woods, and it's just right after a rain, and it was a real ominous day. There was still dark clouds, in the background, but everything was really, really quiet. And all of a sudden, you heard these drops of water falling off of the trees, sort of like right after a big rain. The trees holds the moisture from the air and the water from the air. You walk by and you brush against the tree, and the water falls down. Right. Well, I started hearing that, and I was like, well, I think maybe I'm going to be able to see a deer or something, right? So I started keeping an eye out over toward where I kept hearing the waterfall. Um, and then I heard this weird mumbling sound. This I can't reproduce it exactly, but
Right.
it was very low, and but you could discern that it was an actual language, but I couldn't tell what they were saying. And I kept listening to this, and just a few minutes later, we heard this large crack of a tree limb that something broke. I didn't see what it broke, but the tree limb. We did go out and investigate the tree limb after cleaned out my pants a little bit, and yeah.
Yeah.
It was rather startling, because it was probably 30 yards away from us, and but the tree limb itself was probably 6 to 8 inches in diameter, and there was nothing wrong with it, nothing at all. There was
Clean wood.
zero wind. Yeah, it was very clean wood. There was zero wind, and there wasn't a load on the tree limb that would make it break. So it was just freshly broke, and we went over and examined it. But it was about 7.5 feet up in the air.
Right.
So that really got me hooked from our very first outing, with Paul, and the experiences and the evidence never really stopped on our initial outings afterwards. Once I started going out on my own. I did get a team together to help me like video and document things. And while we were doing that, we're like, hey, why don't we just make a documentary? How hard can it be, right?
Right. How hard can it be?
How hard can it be? Yeah. So, just, how hard could that be? Well, it can be really, really tough.
Right.
It can be real tough. We didn't have a clue of what we were doing in the very beginning. And we didn't know when we really started, what goes in the middle. But most importantly, we didn't know when it ended.
Oh.
So, yeah. So if you can put a list together of everything not to do to make a documentary, we did that.
Oh, you should do a documentary about what not to do while filming a Bigfoot documentary.
If there's a list to make, I know that list.
Yeah,
because I experienced it. I probably wrote it. So
that's great.
Yeah, so it took years to make The Legend of the Downy Booger, and I realized pretty quickly that that I didn't know what I was doing in the filmmaking world. So I got together with some that's the cover for The Legend of the Downy Booger.
Okay, so I have to stop you there. What is the Downy Booger?
The Downy Booger. It's an Alabama legend, and it dates back to the late 1800s, and it starts out with the Downey cousins. They were two young boys. They were cousins, Downey cousins, and they were on their way home from a dance one evening.
Okay.
And they were on horseback, and from their description, a tall, hairy, wild man stepped out in front of the horses on their way home, and it startled the horses. They refused to go further. They had to find another way home.
Okay.
Of course, being boys, their parents didn't believe them.
Right, of course.
Of course, this thing jumped out in front of us. And your parents were like, yeah, right.
Sure, it did. Right,
sure. Yeah, until it happened again. It happened later on. A moonshiner was on that same little path, and he was delivering his payload.
Right.
Yeah. And the moonshiner turned around and noticed that this thing was following him. It was on his cart. This same tall, hairy, wild man. So his first inclination was to, to giddy up and go, but he was carrying his payload, right?
Right.
Full of. so,
Yeah.
so he was like, okay, he
Breakables.
just
We'll
turned
call
around and
them
shot. Yeah,
breakables.
breakables, right. He was
Right.
carrying his breakables, his fragile equipment.
Yeah.
But so he turned around and he shot the thing. And he said it screamed like like a woman or whatever, ran off into the woods. And so when he got back into town, he got with the sheriff and they formed a posse, and they actually did track the creature until it reached a cliff, a bluff, and they surmised that it fell off to its demise there. So that was
Ah.
born the legend of the Downy Booger.
I'll be. I've never heard that. See, we were talking earlier. There's more out there than just Bigfoot. There's more and more and more different lores about different things. Now, could that have been a Bigfoot? Absolutely. So there you go. Or could it have been a bear? Absolutely. It could have been. But I want to think that it's probably a Bigfoot that unfortunately got shot, which is so sad.
Yeah. Right. That's what we surmised that it was, because that's where we started our journey in making the documentary. And oh my gosh, my team and I, when we first went out into the woods, we were in the woods maybe 45 minutes and came along this pond. And from this small little hill, we found these footprints coming down to the pond.
Right.
Went quarter way around the pond and back up off into the woods. And, they were 16 inches long and 7 inches wide. And the stride between them was about 5.5 feet, very typical of what I hear Bigfoot now.
Right.
But, I thought I was going to, be cute and start documenting everything. And, go back to where I said that I was an engineer or do engineering work, and I was used to documenting things, right? So part of my job was to document crashes, but I would be very much in a form that's technical, so very dry, no personality whatsoever.
Yeah.
And when I saw those clips of what I had done, and I said, nobody's going to see that. It's not going to make any kind of film. No. Yeah. So I had to go back and sort of relearn how to have an appearance on camera that's, less dorkish and more entertaining.
Well, sometimes being a dork is actually better than not being a dork. I'm just saying. So now, so you've got that now, but you've also got now. I've heard this term. I've only heard this term in the last couple of years. The land between the lakes. I don't know what is that.
The land between the lakes is a recreational area, a national recreational area, much akin to a national park. But it is bisected by Tennessee and Kentucky on the western side of Tennessee and Kentucky.
Oh, okay.
And if you look at a map, the top of Tennessee is straight until you get to the western side, and then there's a little bump right there on top of Tennessee.
Right.
And that little bump is actually the land between the lakes.
Oh, okay. So when we drive up, we go to we go to the Mothman Festival every year, and I believe that when we drive up through there, we go through that, and there's these signs that says "Land Between the Lakes," and so now that's where this is at. That is some serious woodage out there.
It is. And, that land has some bad juju to it, too.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing.
It is. A lot of the property there went back all the way back to the Revolutionary War, where the owners of the property were granted that to the Revolutionary Warriors, were soldiers, as payment for their term spent in the Revolutionary War. And a lot of those families had that in their family line up until the government decided they wanted it back.
Right.
So they took all that land back and forced people out. It killed a lot of people because they didn't want to go. Destroyed their houses. All in the name of progress,
Yeah.
because they wanted. Used to be called the land between the rivers, and the
Okay.
government wanted to put some dams there for to make power, to generate power. So they dammed up
TVA.
the rivers.
Right.
TVA, you
Yeah.
got it.
TVA. Right.
Yeah. Yep. So they were able to dam up the lakes and submerged a lot of history. And, we think that created a lot of bad juju there.
Well,
And,
yeah.
yeah.
So now this one
And,
is the cryptic expedition. And were you
mhm,
going strictly for, because I see Bigfoot and I see Dogman, is that correct?
that's correct.
Okay, so that's heavy up in that area?
Yeah, oh, absolutely is.
Okay.
Um, I'd never really heard of Dogman until I started making the film. Actually, midways through making the film. It was originally going to be about something completely different. Uh, so when I found out about the land between the lakes, I started doing some research and found out somebody who had a very interesting encounter there. His name's Martin Groves,
Okay.
and I got in contact with Martin, and he's incredible to talk to. Just absolutely incredible. Fantastic person, had a fantastic encounters, former law enforcement, and a very credible person. And
Right.
he experienced a dog man, and in his experience, he actually shot a dog man.
Oh,
Um, it didn't kill it, however,
right.
but he actually shot the dog man. So I was like, wow, uh, this is something else other than just Bigfoot that
Right.
so I wanted to explore more. And I went from the Meadow Project, which is the Skinwalker Ranch of the South.
Mm-hmm.
I went from investigating with that group there in the film to the land between the lakes.
Wow. Now I see. Okay, so again, I'm a huge nerd, but I'm unfortunately not one of those kind of nerds that go deep into anything. I just like
Mhm.
it. So, but I finally got into something where I'm trying to go as deep as possible on the whole cryptid side, paranormal. Um, I've seen stuff on the paranormal side that will literally turn you white. But when people kept telling me dogman, right? I
Mhm.
always understood it from the Native American, the Indians, that the Dogmen were actually a warrior tribe from the different Indian tribes throughout America, and
Mhm.
those were the ones that went out to the woods that disappeared away from all the government, all away from all the armies and stuff like that. And that's the lore that I know because I have family that are Cherokee and Ute and
Mhm.
Paiute, and so I've always that's what I understood as dogmen were, but I didn't know that there was a creature out there. And me, I look at it. So the first thing that the non cryptid person says, well, that's just a werewolf, right? That's what
Mhm.
they're trying to give a werewolf a different name.
Mhm. And for the life of me, I still can't understand the difference between them. You
I,
know,
yeah,
uh, so I try to stay away from knowing too much because I really don't know too much
right, right, right,
about the
right.
dog man, because I still think, werewolf, hello, but that's
Yeah.
been in lore for God for
Oh yeah, yeah. No,
generations.
that's what people
You know.
tell me, and especially the Appalachian side. And then I've got, so it's kind of
Mhm.
weird. I got heavy family. My dad's side's all Appalachian. My mom's side's all
Mhm.
Ozarks. So I guess I'm a hillbilly. That I didn't even know I was a
There you go.
hillbilly until someone told me about 2 or 3 months ago. Oh, you've got hill people in both sides of you because you're a hillbilly. You just didn't know you were a hillbilly. Um,
Mhm.
so I mean, but I do. So to me, the Dogman lore kind of more fits into a Wendigo or a Skinwalker? Because typically those
I
go
think so.
into a wolf side, right?
Yes.
Kinda.
Yeah, kinda. I think that would be accurate.
Yeah.
Now, I've not experienced, to my knowledge, I've not experienced having a dogman experience,
Right.
but I have had Bigfoot experiences and have
Yep.
seen Bigfoot. So I know for a fact they're 100% real.
Right.
Don't know what they are still, but they are out there. They're real, and I still love making movies about them.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. And
So you said you were editing. Can you talk about what's coming by any chance?
yeah,
Can you tease a little
absolutely.
bit?
I can tease. And if I would have been forward thinking, I would have sent you my teaser.
Oh, you got a teaser. Oh,
Yeah, teaser. Yeah, the new film is called The Vanished, and what it's
Ooh.
going to do is center around missing people that are in our national forests, and it's more specifically the Smoky Mountain National Forest.
Okay.
And we're going to concentrate in on two particular missing. There's lots and lots of missing people there.
Right.
So we don't want to take away from the importance of any one of them, but for the sake
absolutely.
of the film,
Right.
for the sake of the film, you have to sort of narrow it down to a few missing people if you want to try and investigate and see what happened. And we're focusing in on Dennis Martin, who went missing in 1969, and Mike Huron, which was more recent. So both of those were very, very close to the Townsend, Tennessee area.
Oh, okay. So let's for everybody watching at home that are not deep in this lore, deep in this cryptid world, the Bigfoot world, the Smoky Mountains is part of the Appalachian Mountain, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so because I've had people argue that the Smoky Mountains is not the same as the Appalachian Mountains. So no, it is. You just but they call them the Smoky Mountains because if you go to the if you go to Townsend or you go to Gatlinburg or you go up in that area, and you watch the clouds roll over the tops, hence the name the Smoky Mountains.
Smoky,
right? Oh. And then you go up into the Shenandoah Valley, still part of the Appalachians. It's just a different part of the Appalachians. Am I correct?
100%.
So there you go.
The Appalachian Mountains is an old mountain range, probably the oldest on the earth. From the looks of the hilltops.
Yeah.
They have to be there for a long, long time to be rounded over like they are.
Right. So, other than giants, walking by, putting their hands on it. Just kidding. I don't want to go there. So the Vanish, that sounds like something I am ready to go watch soon. Now, are you completely done filming, or are you editing and go, oh, we need to go film this, or we need to go pick up some pickup shots here and there?
I'm sorry. I didn't get that.
Oh, I said, so
there was a bit of.
I saw that. I saw the glitch. So are you done shooting and filming, or are you going, oh, I'm editing and I may have to go do some pickup stuff?
No, I'm done shooting.
Okay.
I'm done shooting. And I don't think that I'm going to need any pickup stuff. The only thing that I'll be doing is voiceovers.
Gotcha.
And that those are last anyway.
Right.
A lot of times you don't know when you need a voiceover until
you need
there's a place where you.
Right. So, yeah, that's that.
That's the point where I'm at.
Okay. All right.
And
so you halfway through, quarter way through? Oh, you're freezing on me. Them ghosts are getting to you.
Yeah.
No, it's okay. It's all good.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Our internet sometimes is sketchy. I'm out in the middle of the woods.
Oh, been there, done that, guy. I completely understand. So
I'm probably about 60% through.
Oh, nice. So it's getting close. So we got a little under 3 minutes. Where can people go to find the films to A, support you, B, to buy them, and then C, to watch them?
Okay. you can go to relicfilmsmedia.com. That's my Patreon page.
Okay.
And there you can access both movies to watch digitally. And you'll also be able to stream them on the Channel 12 TV network.
Okay.
And soon to be other TV networks as well.
Yes, yes, yes. That's what I'm hoping for. Yes, baby.
The Legend of the Downy Booger on Tubi TV and several other streaming platforms.
Oh, phenomenal. Now, I see you had sponsors there. You had a small, a medium, and a large sponsor. You want to go into that real quick?
I think. Yeah. Right. The small sponsorship is meant for patrons who will want special access to unique content that's only going to be on my Patreon page, and it's going to be like behind the scenes stuff and some other small that will give people more insight into the filmmaking business.
Gotcha.
And the two other ones are meant for donations because these processes are extremely expensive.
Yeah.
And any help is greatly appreciated, and it really helps us bring out better content.
That's phenomenal. So you're editing this. So let me ask you this, because I'd be a bad host if I didn't ask this. So I know you're 60% done with the one you're working on now. Do you have other ones already locked and loaded?
Absolutely.
I love it.
I've got two more. I've got Return to the Land Between the Lakes. And I've got a special one that I'm really looking forward to. I'm going to Oregon in the summer of 26. And that's going to, we're going to delve into portals and Bigfoot out there.
Ooh.
And yeah. I've got some unique information about a portal site there. And it's my hopes to be able to fly a drone through the portal.
Oh, my. Oh, you better get one of those ones you may not ever want to have to worry about getting back. I'm just saying. And make sure you record your screen just in case. Right. All right, everybody. We've had Greg Ogles on, and we've had his information up. Please go and support this man. He is on a mission, and I tell you what, everything he does is top-notch. You will not be disappointed. We've had all of his information up. We will see everybody on the next show of the Parageeks.